Alright, on today's video, we're going to be taking the first shots with the Derya TM22 Lever Action. Before we dive into this first shots video, I got to get a few things out of the way real quick. First off, Derya did send this out to the channel for a review. And I also want to give a big shout out to Pursuit Armory. They are a local gun store right here in my hometown, and they are handling all the FFL transfers for the channel. And the last thing, I've already done a full unboxing video on this gun. We went over everything that comes in the box, all the specs, the features. That was all covered in that video. So I suggest you go back and watch that video first before you watch this one. Now, with that all out of the way, let's head out to the range and have some fun. All right, let's go over the menu today for the Derya TM22 Lever Action. We've got some CCI suppressor, CCI subsonic, we got the Remington subsonic, we also have the semi-auto quiet 22LR, and we've got the Ely subsonic hollow points. We're also going to be running a lot of the Remington golden bullets through this, and we have the OG CCI quiet 22. Now these normally will never run in a semi-auto, but they should be perfect for a lever action. Now, the only thing that I've done to this gun, other than how it comes right out of the box, was put the optic on here. And the optic I'm running on this is the Gowatar GR23 green dot. I really like this optic. It's very small, compact, lightweight. Does have a solar panel on top. And I will have a full review coming out on this optic pretty soon. Now, as far as the TM22 lever actions go, they have quite a few different models of this gun. This particular model that I have is called the TM22 LA20, which stands for lever action with a 20-inch barrel. They also have these with an 18-inch barrel. They have a lot of different color options available for these. You can get wood furniture, you can get the all-black synthetic like I've got. They even have one with a more tactical style handguard with a lot of M-lock slots on it. Now, one thing that makes this gun quite a bit different than a lot of other lever actions is this gun runs on magazines. So even though we have the tube here under the 20-inch barrel, it's pretty much just here for looks. It does not do anything. And this gun does come with two 10-round magazines, but we're going to dive a little deeper into the magazines later on in the video. Now, like I said, this gun has the 20-inch barrel. They also have an 18-inch barrel version of this gun. And this gun does have a threaded barrel on it. And as you will see throughout this video, I ran a majority of the rounds on this gun suppressed. It does have 1/2 x 28 threads. And I was able to just direct mount my Anechoic 22 from Anechoic and my Pipsqueak from Anechoic. Now, as far as the sights go on this gun, you do have a white dot front sight. The front sight is not adjustable. And then here on the back, you just have a blacked out rear sight. But the rear sight on this is adjustable for elevation. Now in front of the rear sight, you do have a 1913 rail, but it is a very small section of rail. And that's why I'm running this very small and compact Gowatar GR23 green dot on here. Now I talked a little bit about this in the unboxing video, as I don't understand why they just didn't run a rail all the way back to the hammer. You've got all this open flat top space right here. I think they kind of missed out on not doing that. Now the reason I bring that up is because, well, this gun has a 20-inch barrel on it, and it is a very accurate gun. But you're kind of stuck with just using a red dot or a green dot on this. Because if you put an LPVO on this, or even a 3-9 or a 4-16, you're going to have to use a one-piece mount because this rail is so small, but it's not even really going to matter because your scope is going to be so far forward, you're not going to get that eye relief that you need. So down the road, if they ever decide to bring an updated version of this gun out, I would add a rail all the way to the back where the hammer's at. So now let's talk about what it's like shooting this gun. And I'm going to be honest, I had a lot of fun with this gun. The lever on this is extremely smooth. It works really well. It's actually got a pretty nice trigger on it. And this gun pretty much ran everything that I put through it. I did have 2 or 3 rounds not go off, and that was using those Remington Golden bullets. But other than that, all that subsonic ammo I ran through this ran flawless. And as far as those golden bullets go, it wasn't any issue with the gun. They got hard primer strikes on them. They just didn't go off. So all the issues that I did have at the range, it was all ammo related. All right, here we go. We've got all our hits on the first piece of steel. Not too bad. We've got all alphas. But then we've got this. Had a nice little group of alphas, but I actually threw a delta. Just about 1/8 of an inch from the perf, but it's still a delta. And we've got all our hits on the last piece of steel. Now I do like the handguard on this. Some people talked about it being too slippery. I had 0 issues with it. You do have some like finger grooves here on the bottom. And on this side and the other side, you do have some texturing right here. I think it's quite comfortable. But some people just complained that it was a little slippery, but it's a 22. It works just fine. Now, as far as the stock goes, it's super comfortable. You do have that texturing right here, and on the other side, you do have those finger grooves like you have on the handguard right above the lever. And what I really like here on the back is this does have an adjustable cheek riser on the stock, and they put a really nice rubber butt pad here on the back of the stock. Not that you really need it, it's just a 22. But one thing that's good for is instead of just having a hard plastic stock that could kind of slide around on your shoulder, you're not going to have that issue with that rubber butt pad. Now, I already talked about how the action is pretty smooth, and you do have a pretty good size lever on this. Even if I was wearing gloves, it wouldn't be an issue. But speaking of the lever, this kind of gets into another thing that's a little weird on this gun. And if you notice right here above the lever, you're going to see this push in. That is your actual safety. So if you go to pull the trigger, it will not go off. You are going to have to pull up on the lever and then pull the trigger. Now, I did get used to it as the day went on, but it was kind of strange at first getting used to it. And one other thing that I noticed when I was running the action fairly fast on it, every now and then I would pinch my finger right here in between the lever and that safety. So I know I probably shouldn't, but I think I'm going to figure out a way to get rid of that because it kind of drives me nuts. Now, if you want to run a sling on this, you do have a sling mount right here in front of the handguard, and you also have one right here on the bottom of the buttstock. And one other thing that I really like that they did on this, they put a really nice extended magazine release on here. Now, me being a left-handed shooter, it doesn't really do me any good, But if you are a right-handed shooter, you're going to be able to reach right up there and drop your mag. And the magazine's insert, super easy. And another nice thing, they drop freely. So while we're talking about the magazines, let's dive right into your magazine options. Now I've got a couple snap caps in this 10 rounder because I'm going to show you the trigger here in a second. But this does come with two 10 round magazines. And these are just all polymer magazines. The magazine body's polymer, the base plate's polymer, and so is the follower. But I had zero issues with these 10 round mags. They're very easy to load and they work very well. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be complaining, saying, well, I want more capacity than just 10 rounds. Well, you're in luck, because if you go on the Derya website, they also have 15 round mags available. And if 15 rounds still isn't enough for you, well, they do have the 25 round mags as well. And all of these mags, whether you're using the 10 round, the 15, or the 25 rounder, they all work great, easy to load. And what's super cool about these magazines are these mags work with pretty much all their other 22 style rifles. I actually got this 25 rounder and this 15 rounder with my TM22 flash, and they work just fine in the Lever Action TM22. Now let's talk about what it's like running this gun suppressed. And one super cool thing about a Lever Action is that you can run the OG CCI quiets through this. Now, if you've ever tried to use the original CCI quiets, they are very quiet. But they also will not cycle a semi-auto pistol or a semi-auto rifle. Now, they do make quiet 22 semi-auto now or something like that. Those will work, but they're not as quiet as the original CCI quiets. And I ran about 100 of those through this, and it is literally movie quiet, especially with the Anaco X22 on there. You can hear the lever, you can hear the trigger, the hammer hitting the round, but that's really it. You pretty much hear everything that's going on this gun, but you do not hear the shot. So, if you pick one of these up, do yourself a favor and find you a bunch of the original CCI quiet, because it's a lot of fun with this. Alright, so now let's talk a little bit about the trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this mag that has the snap caps in it. We're going to go ahead and load one. Now, like I said on this, you're going to have to hold up on your lever to disengage that safety. You've got just the slightest creep, and then you just get a nice clean break. I've got my Wheeler trigger pull scale here. Let's get a trigger pull. It broke right at 3.5 pounds. So let's get into the pros and cons with the TM22 Lever Action. My biggest con with this is the rail. I really wish they would have extended that all the way back in front of the hammer so you could actually put a scope or an LPVO on this, and you could get some pretty long range shots if you had a little bit of magnification on this. My second con with this is just that safety on that lever. Not a real big fan of that. But all in all, that's really the only two cons I have with this gun. One other thing that I did forget to mention is on the hammer, it's pretty wide, and they put some really nice serrations in this hammer. So even if your thumb is a little sweaty, it's not going to slide off that hammer. I did forget to bring that up earlier. So I guess we'll start the pros with that. And when it comes to pros, there's a lot of pros to this gun. One, threaded barrel. It's extremely quiet to shoot at the range if you're running the right ammo and the right suppressor. The other pro with this is that it's a fairly light gun, and it's really easy to maneuver. The third pro, it runs on magazines, which is awesome. These magazines are fairly cheap, and you can go all the way up to a 25 round mag, which is pretty cool. I really like the trigger on this gun. I think the lever is very smooth to operate. It needs cleaned and oiled a little bit right now because I put a lot of rounds through this gun because I was doing the review on the gun and on the optic. And my last pro with this gun is I love having this adjustable cheek riser on this. So all in all, I highly recommend this gun. They are very affordable, and with a gun like this, the whole family can have fun. You can take your wife and the kids to the range and shoot all day long with this and not break the bank. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.